Some battles aren't yours to win. Why fighting alone is breaking you. There are fights in life that will drain you no matter how hard you swing. You keep pushing, keep trying, keep thinking, if I just work harder, I can fix this. But some battles are not meant for you to fight alone. They belong to a higher power. The more you try to win them in your own strength, the weaker you become. You're not failing because you're lazy or weak. You're failing because you're carrying a fight you were never built to carry. Let go. Hand it over. Some victories only come when you step back and let God lead. Faith is not sitting back doing nothing. Faith is the power to keep moving when logic says stop. It's standing firm when storms rage. It's choosing to trust even when you can't see the way forward. The world may call it blind, but faith sees deeper than sight. It sees the one who holds the future. You can smile in public, but your soul whispers the truth in private. The late night overthinking, the weight on your chest, the questions you don't say out loud. Those silent struggles are taking more from you than you realize. Pretending they don't exist won't make them disappear. Bring them into the light. Stop hiding wounds that God is ready to heal. Picture walking with a backpack full of bricks. Every day you add more. Worries, regrets, what ifs. At first you think you can handle it, but over time it breaks you down. You were never designed to carry everything. Life was never meant to be done in your own strength. Some loads are meant to be placed at the feet of God, not on your back. Ask yourself this: how much lighter would you feel if you stopped trying to manage every outcome? How much joy would return if you let go of the things you can't control? Control feels safe, but it's a trap. It keeps you chained to fear. Trust gives you freedom. Surrender opens the door to peace you've been missing. When you finally release the fight that's been crushing you, something shifts. God steps in where your strength runs out. Doors open you couldn't unlock. Peace comes where chaos ruled. It's not magic, it's faith in action. The promise is simple. If you place it in His hands, He will work it for your good. You're not giving up. You're making room for victory. We like to believe we can control everything. Our future, our relationships, our health, our success. But control is often an illusion. You can plan your steps, but life will still throw storms in your path. No matter how tight you grip the wheel, there are forces bigger than you steering the journey. The more you cling to control, the more drained and frustrated you become. You try to fix every problem, solve every crisis, and predict every outcome. But you weren't meant to hold that kind of power. Control without trust leaves you empty. Real strength is knowing when to release your grip and let God guide the way. Imagine starting each day carrying a backpack full of rocks. Every worry, every fear, every regret, another rock added. You've been walking like this for years, and you wonder why you're exhausted. It's not just the journey that's hard. It's the weight you've chosen to keep. Some of those rocks aren't even yours to carry. You can't run toward your purpose when you're weighed down by burdens you could have placed in God's hands long ago. There's value in working hard and taking responsibility, but there's danger when self-reliance becomes your only source of strength. You tell yourself, if I don't handle this, no one will. But that thinking burns you out. You start believing you have to be the answer to every problem, the solution to every crisis. Slowly, you lose joy. Slowly, you lose peace. You weren't created to be your own savior. Self-reliance without faith turns strength into a slow form of self-destruction. Every day you're standing at a fork in the road. One path is self-will, where you decide, control and push forward with your own limited vision. The other is divine guidance, where you trust God to lead, even when you can't see the whole picture. The first road feels faster, but it's filled with dead ends. The second may require patience, but it leads to places your own planning could never reach. Which road will you choose? You've been telling yourself you're in charge. You've been managing every detail, holding every plan together. But if you're really in control, why do you feel so drained? Why do you wake up exhausted and go to bed restless? Maybe control isn't giving you peace, it's stealing it. Maybe the very thing you think is keeping your life together is the same thing pulling you apart. I know you're tired. I know you've been fighting battles in silence, pretending to be okay while you're running on empty. This isn't about shame. It's about truth. You've been carrying more than you should because you've been afraid to let go. I'm not here to point fingers. I'm here to tell you there's a better way. You don't have to keep living with this weight. You can hand it over and find rest again. The world tells you that surrender means defeat, that giving up control is a sign of weakness. But the truth is the opposite. It takes far more courage to place your life in God's hands than to cling to it in fear. Surrender is not running away. It's stepping into trust. It's saying, I don't have to carry this alone. It's choosing peace over pride, faith over fear. When you surrender, you're not losing, you're aligning yourself with the one who holds the bigger picture. That's strength. Letting go sounds passive, like you're just dropping something and walking away. But giving it to God is intentional. It's an act of trust, a conscious choice to say, I believe you can handle this better than I can. You're not abandoning your responsibilities. You're releasing the weight of control. You still show up, still do the work, but you no longer live under the crushing pressure of trying to be your own savior. That's the difference. Life often feels like flying through thick clouds. You can't see more than a few feet ahead. Fear says you should grab the controls and guess your way forward. Faith says you can trust the pilot who sees the entire sky. You may not know every turn, every storm, or every landing point, but he does. Trusting God doesn't mean you'll always understand the route. It means you're safe in the hands of the one who knows it perfectly. Faith sounds good until it's personal, until it's your bills, your diagnosis, your relationship falling apart. That's when surrender feels impossible. But faith isn't tested in comfort, it's proven in crisis. Giving it to God means you bring him your real-life struggles, not just your Sunday prayers. It's saying, even here, even now I trust you. That's not blind optimism, it's rooted confidence that he's faithful, even in the messiest moments of your life. Some of the wars you're fighting were never yours to begin with. You've been draining your strength on problems you can't fix, people you can't change, and outcomes you can't control. Not every fight is your fight. When you take on battles God never gave you, you burn out. True wisdom is knowing which fights to release into his hands. You're not abandoning the mission. You're following the commander's orders. There will be a moment, maybe today, when you finally release the weight you've been carrying. That's the day you stop trying to control the uncontrollable. That's the day peace returns to your soul. Letting go doesn't mean life gets instantly easy, but it does mean you're no longer chained to the burden of playing God. The day you let go is the day you breathe again. That's not weakness, that's freedom. Some people think faith means sitting back, waiting, and doing nothing. Others believe ambition means charging ahead without God. Both are wrong. True ambition without faith burns you out. Faith without action leaves you stagnant. The truth? They're partners. Faith sets the direction. Ambition takes the steps. When you trust God's plan, you can pursue big goals without the anxiety of forcing them to happen your way. You're free to work hard, dream big, and still rest at night, because your worth isn't in the outcome but in the one who guides you there. Faith sharpens your vision. It reminds you why you started when distractions try to pull you off course. Faith fuels courage. It gives you the strength to face the unknown without trembling. And faith fuels endurance. It keeps you standing when others quit. When your source is God, you're not running on adrenaline. You're powered by something deeper. That's why people of faith often outlast, outlove, and outgive the rest. They're not just pushing forward, they're anchored. When you try to see every detail before taking a step, you stall. Paralysis sets in because you can't predict the future. But when you trust the one who sees the entire path, decision-making becomes lighter. You don't have to know everything. You just have to follow the next clear step. He shows you. Faith doesn't erase uncertainty, but it erases the fear that uncertainty brings. That's where clarity lives, in the trust that he's already mapped away. Fear doesn't just slow growth, it strangles it. It keeps you small, cautious, and stuck. Faith breaks those chains, not by removing all risk, but by replacing fear with trust. When you know God's got you, you stop hiding and start moving. You take risks, have hard conversations, and step into opportunities you once avoided. That's when growth accelerates, because your energy isn't wasted on worrying. It's fully invested in becoming who you're meant to be. Purpose gives you the why. Persistence gives you the how. Without purpose, persistence feels like drudgery. Without persistence, purpose is just a dream on paper. But when you combine the two and anchor them in faith, you become unstoppable. You can endure setbacks, delays, and disappointments without losing your fire. Purpose keeps you pointed toward the right mountain. Persistence makes sure you actually climb it. Faith makes sure you're climbing the mountain that matters. Behind every truly great achievement is a story of faith. Faith that endured ridicule, rejection, and roadblocks. People who've built lasting success didn't just believe in themselves. They believed in something greater guiding them. They faced closed doors without crumbling because they trusted God to open the right ones. They weren't immune to fear, but they didn't bow to it. That's the kind of success worth building, not just impressive but unshakable. Control isn't about micromanaging everything. It's about owning your responsibilities. You control your attitude, your actions, your words, your effort. You can choose how you respond, how you prepare, and how you show up. That's your lane. The more you focus on what's truly yours to manage, the less energy you waste on things outside your reach. Clarity brings peace. When you know what you can control, you stop chasing every fire and start building what matters. This step takes humility. You can't control other people's choices, the weather, the economy, or the past. You can influence, encourage, and plan, but you can't dictate outcomes. Admitting this doesn't make you powerless. It makes you wiser. It frees you from trying to hold the world together with your bare hands. Once you accept your limits, you can stop fighting unwinnable battles and start living with less stress. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. Once you've identified what's outside your control, you have a choice. Carry it anyway, or hand it over. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting God to handle what only He can. It's releasing the burden of outcomes, timing, and circumstances you can't change. When you let go, your mind clears, your heart rests, and your hands are free to do the work that's actually yours. God's shoulders are strong enough. You don't have to carry it all. A seed doesn't become a tree overnight. It grows in stages, hidden roots before visible branches. Your dreams work the same way. You may want them to happen now, but God's timing shapes you for what's coming. If He gave you the blessing too early, you might not be ready to hold it. Trust the process. Just because you can't see growth yet doesn't mean nothing is happening. The waiting is part of the becoming. Surrender isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily rhythm. Start your morning by releasing your plans to God. Pause during the day to check if worry is creeping back in. End your evening by reviewing what's still weighing you down and handing it over again. These small habits keep your heart light and your focus clear. The more you practice surrender, the quicker you notice when you've taken back control. Alignment is built one choice at a time. Sometimes the biggest barrier to progress isn't the enemy, it's us. We hold on to fear, cling to control, and refuse to release what's not ours. That resistance blocks the very answers we've been praying for. Breakthrough often comes when we finally step aside and let God move. If you're stuck, ask yourself, am I standing in the way? Letting go isn't losing, it's clearing the path so the miracle can reach you. Faith isn't a magic shield that keeps trouble away. The storms still come, the loss, the disappointment, the unexpected. But faith gives you an anchor. It roots you so deeply in God's promises that the wind can howl and the waves can crash, yet you remain unshaken. You may sway, but you will not drift away. Faith steadies your heart when logic says panic. It whispers, you are not alone, even when the darkness is thick. The storm may last for a night, but the anchor holds until the morning light breaks. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to move forward while fear walks beside you. It's trusting God enough to step into uncertainty, knowing His presence is stronger than your hesitation. Fear screams, stay where it's safe. Courage answers, God is with me. I cannot stay stuck. It's that first step into the unknown that transforms your life. Fear will always try to keep you small,
but courage rooted in trust will carry you into the life you were meant to live. Fear makes you rush, panic, and act without clarity. It's the impulse to grab control and fix everything instantly. Faith, on the other hand, pauses. It breathes. It listens. Faith responds with wisdom, not desperation. Fear may shout louder, but faith speaks truth in a steady voice. When chaos hits, the difference between reacting and responding determines whether you spiral or stand strong. Faith doesn't ignore the facts. It simply trusts the one who holds the outcome.
Life can hit like a punch you never saw coming. The job you counted on disappears. Someone you trusted walks away. A diagnosis changes everything. In these moments, faith becomes more than a belief. It becomes breath. It keeps you moving when you feel paralyzed. It reminds you that God's plans are not canceled by human setbacks. The pain is real, but so is his presence. What feels like an ending may actually be the start of something far greater than you imagine. You've faced battles before and you're still here. That's proof enough. You may feel tired, bruised, or drained, but you are not broken. The God who holds the universe is the same. When holding you, you may bend under the weight for a moment, but you will not snap. You may stumble, but you will rise again. Defeat only comes if you quit, and quitting is not your story. You are built to endure, strengthened by grace, and destined to overcome. Every trial has a chisel in its hand. It carves away pride, impatience, and fear. It shapes resilience, humility, and wisdom. What feels like breaking is often just refining. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Steel is forged in fire. Likewise, your spirit is strengthened through the very challenges you wish would disappear. When you trust God with the process, you'll look back and see that the hardships were not random. They were tools shaping you into who you were meant to become. Purpose is more than chasing your own dreams, it's carrying out the assignment God placed in your life. Ambition is about what you want to achieve. Purpose is about what He wants to accomplish through you. Ambition asks, how far can I go? Purpose asks, how much can I serve? When you see your purpose as God-given, you stop measuring it by status or applause. You begin to see every gift, every opportunity, and every challenge as part of the mission. Achievement can fill your shelves, but alignment fills your soul. Success feels empty if it's disconnected from God's will. Fulfillment happens when what you do flows from who you are in Him. It's not about how much you collect, but how closely you walk with the one who called you. Alignment ensures your victories have eternal value, not just temporary satisfaction. Life is a grand composition, and you have a note to play. Your contribution matters deeply, but you're not the conductor. God orchestrates the tempo, the harmonies, and the transitions. Sometimes your note is bold and loud. Other times it's soft and hidden. Trust that He knows when to bring you in and when to give you rest. The beauty of the music comes not from control, but from trust. Without faith, you see only fragments of your story. With faith, you see the bigger picture, your role in God's plan. Faith reframes struggles as preparation, not punishment. It reveals that your identity is not built on performance but on His promise. When you see through the lens of faith, you stop comparing yourself to others and start focusing on the work God entrusted to you. The crowd cheers for what entertains them. God affirms what honors Him. Applause fades quickly, but purpose leaves a lasting impact. Chasing approval will exhaust you because it's never enough. Living in purpose frees you because you already have the only well done that matters. Choose to live for the eternal, not the momentary. Comfort zones are safe but stagnant. God's calling often requires risk, sacrifice, and faith. The unknown feels intimidating, but staying where you are can cost more than stepping out. It can cost your destiny. When you trust His voice, you'll find courage to leave the familiar behind. Every step of obedience brings you closer to the life you were made fit. Surrender is not a one-time act. It's a daily choice. Each morning you decide again to trust God more than yourself. Life's demands will tempt you to grab the reins, but true peace comes from letting Him lead. Surrendering daily means holding your plans loosely, knowing His are always better. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. How you start your morning shapes your entire day. Begin with prayer, gratitude, and scripture before the noise of the world takes over. Speak God's promises over your life. When you set your mind on Him first, you step into the day with clarity and strength that no challenge can shake. Night is your chance to hand the day back to God. Release the stress, the mistakes, and the unanswered questions. Thank him for his presence even in the moments you didn't notice. Sleep comes easier when your heart is light. Daily surrender softens pride, strengthens patience, and sharpens focus. You stop reacting out of fear and start responding out of faith. Over time, you live with less control but more freedom. Life is lived moment by moment. Every decision, every challenge, every victory, place it in his hands. That's where it belongs. Pride whispers you can handle it all. Self-reliance nods in agreement. At first it feels empowering, no one to answer to, no one to depend on. But over time the weight becomes unbearable. You carry every burden, fight every battle, and shoulder every responsibility alone. The cracks form slowly: sleepless nights, strained relationships, a constant undercurrent of exhaustion. Pride keeps you from asking for help, and self-reliance convinces you that surrender is failure. Yet the truth is this: there's nothing strong about refusing the help of the one who sees the whole picture. Pride blinds you to grace. Self-reliance robs you of rest. The cost? Joy, peace, and years you can't get back. True strength is found in humility, admitting you need God's guidance, and trusting him to carry what you never could. Burnout doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in while you're chasing the next goal, the next win, the next milestone that promises fulfillment, but never delivers. You tell yourself, just a little further, just a little more, yet more always moves further away. In the process, relationships fade, health declines, and joy becomes a stranger. Regret sets in when you realize the ladder you've been climbing is leaning against the wrong wall. The chase for more leaves you empty, because more is never enough without purpose. Burnout is the body's alarm, and the soul's cry for alignment. The good news? You can step off the treadmill, slow down, reconnect with what matters most. Only when you release your grip on endless striving will you find what you were searching for all along: peace, contentment, and purpose, rooted in something eternal. Life has a way of breaking those who refuse to bend. You can resist change, fight circumstances, and insist on doing things your way, but eventually the weight becomes too much. Crises come, losses strike, plans crumble. For many, it's only in the breaking that surrender finally happens. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can choose to bend now, to yield your plans to God before they shatter in your hands. Bending isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the posture of trust, the choice to flow with God's leading, instead of against it. The oak that refuses to sway in the storm snaps in two. The reed that bends survives. So bend not out of fear, but out of faith. Give God the space to redirect your steps before life forces the lesson. That's where true resilience begins. You are not in control of everything. You never were. And that's not bad news. It's freedom. The weight you've been carrying isn't all yours to hold. God's hands are stronger, steadier, and wiser than yours will ever be. Life's storms aren't yours to command, but they are his to calm. You don't have to know the outcome to trust the one who does. Surrender isn't giving up, it's giving over. The truth is simple. You were never meant to walk this road alone. And when you finally stop gripping, you'll find his grace holding you steady, always. Close your eyes and imagine the weight in your hands, your fears, plans, failures, and what ifs. Now open your fingers. Let it all fall into the hands of God. That moment, the release, is surrender. Not halfway, not with strings attached, fully. You're not abandoning your life. You're entrusting it to the one who sees the whole picture. Feel the shift inside you. The tightness in your chest loosens. The restless thoughts quiet. The burden lifts. That's not weakness. It's strength rooted in trust. This is the moment your soul exhales, knowing it is finally safe. This is where peace begins. You've said soon for too long. You've waited for the right time, the perfect conditions, the sign from heaven that already came in the form of today. Waiting keeps you stuck in the same place, carrying the same weight, fighting the same battles. Enough. God isn't asking for a better version of you. He's asking for all of you right now. Today is the day to stop holding back, to stop bargaining, to stop pretending you can do this alone. Don't let another day pass with your hands clenched. Release, trust, step forward and surrender. Today is the day. Say it out loud until it sinks past your mind and into your bones. Give it to God. every fear, every plan, every wound, every dream. Repeat it until it drowns out the noise of worry and doubt. This is not a one-time act. It's a rhythm, a heartbeat, a daily choice. The more you give to him, the lighter you become. When you're tempted to grab control, whisper it again, give it to God. It's not a slogan, it's survival. It's how you breathe when life feels heavy. Give it to God. Give it to God. Give it to God.